So Nimat, I mean, of course, I mean, you've had a beautiful journey. I love how you were talking about Florence versus Delhi. Talking about sculptures now, okay? I mean, you've done beautiful horses, you do figurative works, uh, different mediums you've played around with. Take us through that. I mean, why a certain subject and which is your favorite subject is what I want to ask.
I mean, I think I get this question a lot, to be
Yeah,
honest. And one of my favorites, I mean, it's for me, the favorite is the latest one I'm working on, I guess.
yeah,
So, like, I've been working on a really large series of horses and human portraits. So, I think that's something I'm really going with right now. And why horses answering that is because I feel like there's something really beautiful about them, for starters, and also it's like a symbol of strength.
they project strength.
Yeah, they
Yes.
project strength and positivity. And then portraits, because I trained in it, so that's one. And the second thing is that I feel like I can express myself the best when it comes to portraits, and one of them is like here. So over here, like what we're trying to show is a man who's like almost trying to speak something, and he's trying to speak but is not able to. That sort of a,
That's deep.
yeah, so that's something I was trying to show. And this is again like fully done from imagination, and that's basically it. Yeah.
Something horses are commercially viable as well in India
Right.
because of Vastu, people have a significant, I mean, horses have a significance in the Indian market because of so many cultural references I can give.
Right.
So, yeah, you do it not for commercial purposes, you do it because you love it. That's what
Yeah,
you were
and
saying.
that gets commercialized,
Yeah,
right?
of
Like
course.
I use again, it's a whole chain. So you do it because you like it, and then
Yeah.
you send it to the right gallery so that they sell it, and that's basically commercializing it.
Of course.
Yeah,
Do you, I mean, have a you said portraits are your favorite, okay?
portraits. Yeah.
So how did portraits come into the picture, and how did the thought of making a portrait come into the
So
picture?
it's quite the process, frankly. Like
Yeah,
again, like portraits in art history go way back. So if you read Western art history, even Indian art history, I'm saying Western art because I was there.
yeah, of course.
You see sculptors like Rodin, Michelangelo, Giambologna. I mean, these guys are masters of masters, right?
Yeah,
And for me, it was like as a child, every time I saw a sculpture that in a museum or wherever, even a photograph here and there, I was like, why can't I do something like
do
that?
something out of
I was
this.
very like curious, right? Like I was like, why can't I do something like that? And obviously, things led to my training eventually.
Of
And
course.
when you're trained in an environment that's so intensive, but also the home of Michelangelo, it does have an impact on you in some or the other way. um so yeah, like how I think about going about a portrait is like what do I want to show. So there's a portrait I've done like a ton of portraits in the past, I think
Have you
for
recorded the
5 months.
number of works you've done to date?
Oh god.
Just out of
Yeah, I mean
curiosity,
I don't have, I don't remember the
a number.
numerically, but I mean you're hitting more than 100 for sure.
Wow,
Yeah.
in a span of say 8 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Continue, please.
Yeah, so like I'm just giving one of the examples. I worked on a portrait of a girl with a fox incorporated in a portrait, right? So
Of
like
course. I
obviously
mean, I
share
see it.
pictures later, but why did I go for that vibe is because I was trying to show a girl who's cunning, and then fox is considered cunning, and that's a vibe you go for. It's like when you're making an artwork, whether it's a painting, sculpture, a drawing, or whatever it is. I mean, the whole artwork has to be a vibe,
Yeah, of
and it
course.
has to sell. The artwork has to sell itself before the number does.
I totally agree with
And the
you.
number, I frankly believe, when you study art business, which I did, it comes with it's very statistical, right? Like you're studying the provenance of the artwork, you're studying where was the artwork made, who bought it, who resold it, and all that. But at the same time, if you're actually just looking at the artwork stand alone, I mean,
But
that
over here,
sells.
I have a slight difference of opinion.
Yeah.
You're totally right. This is the so-called bookish process
Yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah.
the whole process of buying an art piece.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've been in India for donkey years now. We've been selling art for donkey years now. I think over here, there are, which I would also want your 2 cents on, there is a difference in the buying process over here.
Yeah.
So, as you said, art history matters a lot. Like if a collector is coming to Niyamat and buying a portrait, for example, this one, they would want to know what you have made, right?
Absolutely.
But over here, it's the other way around. So when people come to me, when clients come to me, they don't take art to be that subjective. They think that they should relate or resonate with the artwork, then only they will buy.
But that's
They
good.
don't. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
commercially talking, that is good. But I think, see, I believe in a concept called consumer psychology a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel, for example, even if I'm going to an art gallery, I mean, I would want to know that, oh, what is the story behind this artwork? What is the story behind this sculpture?
Yeah.
What was there? I mean, earlier, if you recall, every artwork or every sculpture also used to have a name.
Yes.
Have you seen in these recent, 10, 15 odd years, where artists have stopped naming their artworks?
Yeah.
You know why? Because again, consumer psychology, they don't want people to perceive a specific artwork according to the artist's thought process.
Absolutely.
So they want people and customers to have their own thought process,
Absolutely.
especially in India.
Yeah.
So over here, like for example, we were talking about the cityscape earlier. You see the colonial side of India. A lot of people just see raindrops and 3 rickshaws going towards India Gate.
Yeah.
So, and both aren't wrong. I mean, if I actually talk about it, both customers are not wrong.
Yeah.
So, this is one good, I think it's a boon and a bane in India, where I think art is, artists have left customers and clients to give their 2 cents towards artworks. Whereas in European countries and all, I think over there it's more process oriented, more art history oriented.
Yeah, I mean, I think when a collector is looking to buy artwork, that it's similar in many ways. I mean, you see people like you find all sorts of people everywhere. Like you'll find somebody, oh, I want something that matches my curtains.
Yeah,
Which is
exactly.
But
So yeah,
which
this
is fine, because as a gallerist, then I mean, for you, you're like, okay, fine, it works, but then what's the color of your curtain versus somebody coming and be like, listen, I want something that resonates more classical art or more,
Yeah.
more pop or something, then you'll actually pull out something that resonates
Yeah.
that choice.
Yeah.
So I think you find those sorts of people here and there.
Yeah, I mean, true. Customers are more or less the same. But
Yeah.
yeah, India is, I think, when I do business in Dubai and Boston and all these countries, I think over here it's more, it's a consumer's market, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, it is more price oriented over here.
Yeah, it's definitely.
That is, of course, the most. I think in Europe, they won't even bargain that much. They won't negotiate that much. If you're asking for a price, for example, a few £100,000, they would probably give a 5%, 7% discount and get away with it. Over here, nothing works. I mean, lesser than a 15 or 20%. So that's the kind of margins which I think
Well, I think
that
that's
is the
just
difference.
India then.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, see, at the end of the day, again, like you see, as a gallerist, you're concerned with selling the art. Now, however it goes, you want it to be sold.
true.
Right, right, like-
So I believe that price is always secondary. That is my opinion. I think at the end of the day, see, artist of course spends years and years in the process of making and forming an art form.
Yeah.
But I feel that once the art is sold, an art is a form of art only once it's sold. Otherwise, it's a blank piece of canvas.
Absolutely.
So this is something I say all the time.
Yeah.
That ये दीवार पे तो सिर्फ canvas है. This becomes a painting when it's sold.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is just a tabletop. This is just a normal tabletop. It becomes an artwork once
Yeah.
it's sold.
Yeah.
So this is what I have to add. So yeah, my question to you is: you've of course explored all mediums, bronze, fiber, marble, but which is your favorite?
I think I resonate the most with bronze. It tells a story of its own, and also you see, as an artist, you are looking up to somebody, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a artist from the past. So for me, that was, every time you walk into a museum, you're like, it's very common to think, okay, what is that sculpture made of? It's bronze or marble. I'm talking like sculptures in Italy or
Yeah.
in London or wherever, right? Like they all are made of bronze or marble. So what I did was I started training in bronze and marble both.
Wow.
And the reason I do bronze more is because I just think it's more,
It's richer.
it's richer. I mean, I don't want to say it's richer. It's quicker,
Oh, it's
right?
quicker.
Yeah, because the thing is, marble is a very physically intensive material to use, and I mean, I have done it. I did it one summer when I was in Italy. It's like doing a 9-hour workout,
Wow.
and that breaks your body. I mean, I would do it happily. Like, I love it.
And you do it in one stretch?
No.
I mean, of course you can't.
Definitely not. Like, I do it. I mean, you take your breaks and stuff. You take your coffee breaks, and you want to go for a snack or whatever. That's fine. But at the same time, I want to do something that makes me feel very calm as well. I mean, marble is something I got that from marble, but at the same time, I'll do that as commissioned work.
Yeah, of course.
Like, it's way harder. Like, it's literally physical work what
Torture.
you're doing. I don't
Not
want
torture. I mean, yeah, the wrong word I used.
Yeah, that's okay. But I think it's just literal physical work. Though that's why when you look up, like, the David and Florence by Michelangelo and stuff, that's marble. Single block
Single
of marble.
block of marble.
That's unbelievable.
The way they and
He's carved it.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
carved it. That's
it's
insane.
fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But you also do fiber now. I mean,
I
you
mean, I
recently
do.
explored fiber.
Yeah, of course. Like, I
So-
do. And I love it because it gives you a lot of freedom of color.
Yes, of course.
So definitely, I really like it. And again, like, it's easy. I don't want to use the word easy. It's like, once you know the technique, it's like, you can do it. You can play around with colors. You can play around with textures on it. So it's actually really nice. But again, like, it's not bronze for me.
Yeah, of course.
So what I like to do is I like to have bronze and then additions in fiber or something like that. One of those.
How
Yeah.
do commissioned works, that's what I'm thinking, because of course you get so many commissioned works. How do commissioned works work? Like, do the customers, I know how it works with paintings,
Yeah.
not. But in sculptures, like, do they give
So
you a
I am
reference?
also, like, really clean when it comes to talking to my collector about commissions. I'll always try to convince them to buy a bronze sculpture
Of
for
course.
two reasons. One is, of course, the material, and another thing is it has a story.
Yeah,
The
of
medium
course.
has a story. Then might as well just buy that, and of course, I can do it in either way. In fact, doing it in resin is way cheaper.
That's, I mean, commercially, yeah, that
It's
works
way cheaper for me to do
more
it. I'll
viable,
make
yeah.
more of a profit, but at the same time, I'm like, is this what I want going out of my studio, or is this what I want going out of my studio? And my heart tells me I want this because it has a story. It looks richer. Somebody looks at a bronze sculpture in someone's living room or any public spaces, and their heads turn.
Yeah, of course. I think from a distance you can spot.
You
And fiber visually also it looks lighter. But yes, I mean, again, when we talk about markets over here, people want more for less. That is
Yeah.
the mindset which people have here.
But like, I've had a really good experience so far. Like, I'll tell you one of them. It's I was actually selling, and I was selling. It was a commission work to
Okay.
a Swiss collector, an Indian couple who lived in Switzerland. It was a really sweet story.
Yeah.
A very Bollywood inspired, like,
Okay.
very Bollywood inspired couple. And they're like, the husband he got in touch with me via like Instagram and stuff, and he's like, I want to gift my wife an anniversary gift. So very like Shah Rukh Khan
Oh, wow.
vibed. He narrated his entire love
Story
story
and what
this
he
and
wants,
that. So
yeah.
I was like, okay, like, give me a couple of days. Let me like compose something, and then I'll get back to you. So I curated a sculpture, composed a sculpture where a man is pulling the moon down for his wife.
Wow.
So it was really fun to do, but at the same time, like, it was really fun. So again, like, it was a bronze work, and they really appreciated
How big was it?
It was 4 feet.
Oh, wow.
So
Neeraj.
it was really fun to do, and they appreciated it. I had fun doing it because it was almost like, when you're doing commission work, it's a little different than buying works off the
Yes.
shelf, which I think is nicer because you get to know the real insider story of someone's life, and
yeah.
you like it or not, it has to project
But
in your work.
do you have freedom, or I mean, are clients always on your head? I mean,
No.
Nima, do this, or I don't like the nose, or I don't like
No,
this, or
no.
something of that sort.
I mean, see, I've been very lucky. Like, I think when it comes to my clients and my collectors, what the kind of things I've heard is, listen, you're the artist, you know better.
Oh, fantastic.
So then I'm like, okay, then let me just do it.
I think it's a blessing. I mean, when you get such customers as well,
Yeah.
and such clients as well, I think there's nothing better than this. Have you had any bad experiences with any client of yours?
I mean, I had someone like bargaining with me for like a sale once, and I was just like, it's fine, you take it. It's like no big deal. We obviously
Oh, yeah,
zeroed
I
down.
think you've told me. Please tell if you're comfortable with it. Please
Yeah,
tell.
like
Walk us through.
it was a really small amount, and I was just like, it's a small amount for like bargaining, and I was like, you know what, it's okay, it's not a big deal, because she's a big time collector at the end of the day. Like, she has collected the progressives,
Yes.
and that's okay. Like, I have nothing against it, but I was just like, it's like 20 grand. It's okay.
No, this kind of stuff. I think this is also, it's a very fun element in the Indian market as well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, 1 out of 10 cases, if we even get such cases, no,
You overlook it
You
at that
overlook
point,
it.
because I'm just like, you know what, I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to work today. And rather versus
Yeah.
like somebody is like, oh shit, they have to go to
And
work.
especially when those 10, 20 or $1,000 can't harm you, I think you might as well give it out to people.
Exactly.
But this brings up a very interesting topic of mine. So yeah, this brings a very interesting topic. I mean, talking about how customers are, of course, the Indian market, and okay, let's not use the word Indian market. Markets, the art markets have evolved, and because of technology coming in and all the who's who and the biggies coming in, when they pump in money, of course, the process gets quicker, and there's a shorter wait time in the whole process of making an artwork or a sculpture. What I'm trying to get at is, how has technology played a role? Because now, thanks to China and the machines which people have made back in Germany and China, now a sculpture does not need a human element in it. We don't need a human to make a sculpture when machines can. A lot of brands, I don't want to name those brands, a lot of brands are keeping 3D printed sculptures and this and that. So I mean, of course it's not affected you, but what do you have to say about them?
I mean, you see, like, I have nothing to say as such, but I'll tell you, as an artist,
Yeah.
I don't think I would go down that route.
Yeah, of course.
Because for me, it's like, I did a series called Meraki.
Yeah, which we're going to talk about. Yeah, of course.
I was just going to come to that. And that was basically what Meraki translates to, is putting a part of yourself in your work. And that's something, as an artist, you want to try to do in every artwork that you do. It's very difficult. It's a vulnerable space to be in sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when somebody walks into your studio, and that's where you are, right? That's where you're fully creating, and they're like looking at your work and this and that. It's nice, but at the same time, it can be a very vulnerable space to be in. I don't think I would ever go down the machinery route, though I have done NFTs before.
Yeah.
They did well for me, but I mean, NFTs at the end of the day, see, my goal remains the same, that you want visibility as an artist, right? So even if you're not selling, what you're selling on a digital platform should be the same what you're selling physically, right? Like, so
Rightly said. I mean, art is
Yeah.
all about tangibility.
ability, like, you want to be able to touch it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Unless
so-
I can't see it and touch it, how can
But
I?
then NFTs are different, right? Like, but which is fine. It's a different concept altogether. That's what I'm saying. I did it. It worked well for me. But at the same time,
Take
it-
me through that incident. I mean, how did you get into NFTs
I was
as
just
well?
very curious, and I was like, I want to try this. So like, I started like making some digital stuff, and
Yeah.
it wasn't difficult, because I think when you're trained classically, the rest falls.
Because I'm a nincompoop when it comes to
That's fine.
yeah,
No,
technology
yeah.
like this. I don't know how NFTs work.
No,
I've
that's
had
okay.
people come to me related to art, get into NFTs.
Yeah.
But how does it work? You make a digital.
You upload it, you put in some money in your e-wallet, and then all that stuff, and which is like, it's not difficult. Like, I just asked somebody for help to like walk me through it, and which did, and then you just start like blowing it. Like I use Instagram to like amp it up.
Oh wow! How much did you sell your? I mean, I don't know how it works. Your biggest NFT for? I mean,
I don't
is that the
remember.
way?
It was a while ago.
Sorry.
It was a while ago when
Oh
I did my
wow!
NFTs. Like I haven't done an NFT in like 6 years now. So
And you were earning well, I
it
suppose.
was good.
But yeah,
It was
anyway.
enough to keep me happy. So it
Not
was
to
good.
deviate from the topic, I think yes, the art world or the industry always should have a human element,
Yeah.
and I think my opinion also stays the same.
Yeah.
I think no matter how much AI and technology comes into the picture, uh, in the art industry specifically, when we talk about art, I'm talking about movies, I'm talking about entertainment, I'm talking about stage performances, fine art, visual art, sculpting. I think it can't be replaced by technology.
Definitely.
Yes,
not.
a lot of people like
You can use technology, right?
Yeah.
Like you can use AI, you can use all these things. We're living in that. We can't escape it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should have, as an artist,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to have an impact in this.
And I
Because
think,
the thing is like, who is an artist? I think an artist is the rawest self when they're working and when their work is out there and people are seeing it. That's the artist. But if the moment you start mixing AI and then you start mixing technology and all that, I think it becomes a bit of a like
the essence of it vanishes.
it